Hey, this is Glendon, founder of Hustlers Kung Fu, where you learn how to make money without a job. Let's jump into starting that first business. We got some emails and I was talking to some people. Many folks are where you learn how to make money. Forgot to do that. I was talking to some people and many folks are super hyped out on that first business, that it's got to do everything, be everything, make the money, freedom from the job, when maybe that is not the role of your first business. Maybe the role of your first business is to prepare you for your second. Because today, since it's the holiday week, it seems a lot of people are off. Because I went out somewhere the other day and I was like, who are all these people out? And it hit me. It's like many people take the whole week off for Thanksgiving. It was just kind of messing up my groove because, I'm normally accustomed to having everything to myself. But I was thinking and looking at certain things. And, if you don't know my story, my first business failed. The second business failed. The third business failed. The fourth business failed. The fifth business kind of broke even. And then business number 6 through current all succeeded. And I do believe that this notion of starting a business and becoming amazingly successful right out the gate is a tremendous amount of pressure to put on yourself and to put on your business. And that's what many people are doing. And this is one of the reasons so many people don't ever start a business, because of that pressure. Well, let's talk about treating your first business as an experiment, as a laboratory even. One of the things that can help you with that, and I've got 2, is Uncivilized Profits, which is primal marketing. The whole genesis of that course, as I develop it, is to teach you how to find audiences. And, I'll get into that later. And another thing is for you to do service businesses, selling physical products. These are good beginner businesses, training wheel businesses. These things will help you out a lot. And give me a second. I'm going to put that up there because I forgot to do it. But during the live streams, just so you know, and this is live for people who will come in later and be like, hey, is this live, and leave one of those stupid comments. It is live currently. In the future, it will not be live, and whatever offer that's in the video will not be available to you unless you catch a live stream. So let's do it like that. Okay. And 30 days to 2,500. Give me a minute to put that link down there, or I will hook up people some way, some fashion. But let's talk about the training wheel business. Let's talk about my first business. First of all, it was Pictures with Your Pooch. I was in the military. I was at not Fort Sam Houston. What is it? Fort McPherson. I was just in there. Tyler Perry bought the joint. It's like 65 acres. There's a golf course. There's all kinds of stuff there. He got a whole community for the cheap. But I was stationed there, and I had this urge to start a business. I just knew I was real frustrated. I was taking care of a family, essentially, making a car payment, sending home BAQ, and I didn't have a lot of extra money. So I was really frustrated. So I wanted to create additional income. That was my first thrust. There was no overarching mission to that business. The whole thing was, let's create some extra money. And that's why I think the business failed, because there's many questions I did not ask myself, because the whole thing was to get money. That was it. And that's why when I tell you, you've got to have more reasons than money, because once you get that money, a lot of that stuff's going to disappear. Well, I got the thing together and I just kind of went off of what was in my head. I didn't do any market research. it was, like I said, picture with your pooch. I went out and I started making heavy investments. I bought this camera. I went out and got, if you're in Atlanta, it used to be Wolf Camera. Now it's Ritz Camera. It's not too many locations, but got that camera, got like a $1,500 limit because, camera equipment has always been expensive. So I got a camera. I already had one, but this one was a Pentax, all the fancy stuff. I think it was like $800 for the camera. Then I had to have a phone line installed in my room because I was lucky enough to have my own room in the barracks. And I had a phone line installed. Then I ran an ad in the HAC. I did all that. And I put that ad in the newspaper and I just waited, right? Just waited. And that phone never rang. And ads were very expensive back then. I mean, like several $100s for a week or a few months or a month. I mean, it was up there. Then it dawned on me that this shit wasn't going to work, right? And I became really demoralized. I was really upset because I needed to make some money and I wasn't making any money. And I had spent all this money and I was just an E4. I wasn't making a lot of money. So that was a heavy hit. But once I got over my disgust at myself, I started another business. But, I put a little bit more thought into it where I got this catalog, right? And I would sell people this stuff because I used to read this, Entrepreneur magazine, all of these, work at home, in these ads in the back of the magazine. And I would order this stuff. And it was just like, wouldn't work. So I got the catalog, started trying to sell people. The stuff in the catalog was priced so high that I couldn't sell it and make decent money. It's just, it wasn't there. So then I got into, what was the next thing? Because it's been so long ago. It was that picture with the pooch, the catalog thing. Janet King was number 5, which I kind of broke even. Then there was it the detail? It was a cleaning service. It was the cleaning service that didn't do well. Then there was, what the other? I mean, it's like, I wish I had written this stuff down because I just went off the top of my head. But they were all side hustles. They were all very low income to get into, and they didn't work. Now, Janet King kind of broke even, but I didn't make a lot of money because at the time, I don't know if they still have, but 13% royalty, which was huge. Then I got out of that, and I got into, I got out of the military and I was working jobs. Oh, the lawn service. Let me tell you about the lawn service. I went out, and this is the thing. This is why I keep telling you don't make all this money. This is what I went out. I just got out of the military. And then I went to this Toyota place, traded my car in, got a Toyota truck, went to Home Depot, used my credit card at Home Depot, bought a lawnmower, and rode around Buckhead stuffing mailboxes with my phone number, will cut your grass, on paper ripped out of a notebook. Now, what's funny about that is I did that right during the summer. No one ever called me back. But after I had took the truck back and got my car back, well, actually, yeah, took the truck back, got my car back. About 2 weeks after all that, I get a phone call from someone that's like, hey, buddy, I got your flyer in my mailbox. I need my grass cut. You're still doing that? You can come out today. Got a nice, crisp $25 bill for you. Ha ha. And it was like, damn, right? But I learned. Now, see, here's the thing. From all of those 5 failure businesses, and this is what we're talking about, your first business is, let's go with the first thing, the picture with your pooch. No marketing, no game plan, nothing. I just like, hey, here's an ideal, and I went for it, and it fell flat. Then the other stuff, I didn't understand margins. With the catalogs, the margins just weren't there unless I was going to induce somebody to, sell this crazy stuff. So the margins weren't there. Then with the lawn service, and well, Janet King, huge investment, a lot of money went out. they set you up with some contracts at the time. Once again, this is years and years ago. I don't know if they operate that way now. And just wasn't making any, I was making money, but I wasn't making a lot of profit. I mean, there was profit, there was money left over, everything was built, but it just was so unsatisfying. I mean, it was just really, really unsatisfying. Then the lawn service could have been a go if I had learned how to market, because let's look at it. I went out and got a truck, lawnmower, and just literally rolled around and stuffed mailboxes, which is illegal. Don't be go putting stuff in people's mailboxes, right? That's illegal. But it worked. It actually worked. So when I tell you, if you touch enough people, you meet enough people, you'll make sales, I'm not kidding, because that was just ghetto and raggedy as hell, and it worked. You know, if I had went out and hit that neighborhood every day, I probably would have got more business. So all of those businesses taught me through failure. And that's why, you know, with your first business, you shouldn't be like freaking out. And if it goes sideways, and, you know, I'll talk about some things that you should do to mitigate your risk. It all prepared me for what was to come years later. So it was like going to real business school, because I was dealing with real numbers, real money, real people. Then when I got into GC Solutions, which came from this, I had a job. You know, this was my last office furniture job, and it was this deal. And it was just like, hey, if you make our used furniture disappear, we're going to, we'll buy the new furniture, right? And I was like, cool. So I go to my boss, you know, because it's kind of unethical, but it's not, because I went to him and I said, look, this is the deal. And he was just like, we don't do that. Pass. I'm like, dude, I need the money. I need the money. I need the money. And he was just like, hey, pass. And it was sitting in my car in the parking lot. So I got a choice here, because I knew that it was going to make some money, because I had customers who wanted used furniture because they couldn't afford the new stuff we had. And I just said, you know what? I went to Nancy and I said, let's do it. I talked to her boss. He came and met me, and we sat down and wrote a contract. Seriously, this is a corporation. He was empowered to write a contract. We wrote a contract. I got 50% of whatever I sold. And then I got on the phone that night and I went through all my old leads, and I said, look, I've got some really nice used furniture, because I also took pictures of the furniture. I've got some really nice furniture. It will fit your requirements. If you're interested, let me know and I can show it to you. 48 hours, $5,000 for me. 48 hours, 48 hours. Now, why did that happen? Was it because I was so great? No. I knew how to manage a list. See, through all of that failure, this whole thing, and when I talked to 400 people earlier this year on the channel, many people are doing those same things. They're creating businesses with no audience. They're creating businesses, no marketing plan. They're creating products that they don't even know if people want, or they're trying to infiltrate demographics or huge markets with a very bad plan. And the reason I can speak to you like this is I've done the same shit. This is why I know when someone's like, I'm like, this shit's not going to work. It's just not going to work. It's not me being an asshole. It's just, I've been there. So potentially let's go to GC Solutions, which was the first successful business. What did I have? Resources. I had an audience. I had sales skills, and a marketing plan. Because I sold all that furniture like in 60 days. And I used the list that I had built from actually, hey, this is Glendon Cameron, blah, blah, blah. I hear that you're moving. Let's sit down and talk about your office furniture. Are you going to, I had my whole little spill. So I had an audience. That's why that worked. If I had went into talk to Nancy and that was my first customer, a lot of what I did wouldn't have worked. It just wouldn't have worked because I didn't have that audience. So your first business, if it goes bad, don't worry about it. If your second business goes bad, don't worry about it. If your third business goes bad, don't worry about it. Now, let's go through the whole parameters of why I can go through all of these failures and not lose my house or car or stuff. Number one, The whole time I went through these 5 businesses, except for the lawn service, because I had ETS at that time, I was in the military with a full check. I did not do this. Now, and here's another thing, being in the military, staying on base, if I didn't have any money, take my meal card, go to the mess hall and eat 3 times a day. So I didn't have to have any money. I had a job, I had a place to stay. I wasn't out here operating with the family budget. All this stuff that I did was I was really young. It was really sheltered and protected. So even as they failed and I lost money, I didn't lose me and I wasn't homeless and stuff. So let's go in the chat room real quick, because I know a lot of people are, they're already off. It ain't even Thanksgiving, but y'all already off. You kick back, you're drinking, you're doing all this stuff. I can see you doing it. So let's get in here. We got Virgil input, chair of the state and the police in this piece. That's funny. Dope Cam, Zoom, Frank Allen, virtual input. With the knowledge you have now, do you think you would be successful in your businesses that failed? Absolutely, because I wouldn't have even got into those businesses. Let's say picture with the pooch. That might work today. If I were to do that today, I would go on Twitter. I would go, it would be hard, because I mean, with this, it would be so hard, because what these can do, I mean, the new iPhone 7 does depth of field through an app, and that's going to just, it would be hard unless someone really wanted a high-end presentation, and you would have to go to people who are just absolutely bananas and crazy over their dog, who would spend that kind of money. The catalog thing, yeah, I would be successful because I would have not touched those businesses. This is one of the reasons that I'm very big on creating my own stuff from those experiences. Jonathan Russell, your transparency separates you from the rest. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate it. Because, I got a saying, a lot of guys don't talk about this stuff because you can't talk about what you never did. A lot of these folks have never started any physical business. They've never had to have a business license. They never had to go through code enforcement and all this other stuff. And it's starting to, a lot of folks, they can't make it because you can't really sham people online. I got resources here. I've got a track record that you can get in Google. You can go to Amazon. You can look. I got stuff. A lot of folks don't have that. Morning, Benjamin. Danny Habib says good morning. That's cracking me up. Danny Dash, I'm in the military now. E7, looking for a side hustle. You're in E7. I'm gonna say you got 12, 14 years. What you gonna do, Playboy? You gonna do the full 20, or you gonna bounce? And hopefully you don't get rifted, if this is what they call it. That's the military's form of Six Sigma. Like if you don't perform, you get passed over so many times, they just get rid of your ass. I used to work in medical. I used to out-process these people because they had to have a physical, because here's a little trick for anybody that's in the military. If you're kind of fucked up or you've got an injury or medical condition, they can't kick you out with that medical condition, or back in the day they couldn't. And I remember this E7 who, because he had made E7 real fast, he was stuck there, and he was at like that 17-year mark, and he was not going to get promoted because after E7 there's Master Sergeant. That's a short ass list. And as he was leaving, he fell down and broke his arm, tripped over some shit. And everyone came in, got him X'd up, and then, he had to come back. They could not kick him out while he was under treatment because he got hurt on active duty. And then he had a pin and some other stuff. So actually he got his full 20 and some other stuff. So, that broken arm worked out for him, because we're talking about that broken arm got him a few $100,000 by now. So it worked out. CJD the Nuke, quick thoughts on the credit repair business. Is in the process of starting one now. If you know how to repair credit, go for it. Oh, Daniel Dash getting downsized. Yeah, I don't know. With this new thing we got going on, there might be another war. You might get a chance to come back. Virtual input. What did your boss say after you sold the furniture? I quit, dude. I made 30 G's in like a really quick. I mean, 30 G's cash money. I was getting paid in cash because this is how it worked. My clients would come in and I'll say, look, for you to get these amazing prices and deals and stuff, you got to come with cash. Talk to whoever you need to talk. So, and I got paid in cash. I had 30 G's cash in like what, 28 days? And then I had paid all my bills and I had money. I was just like, I just turned, being in sales, when you tell them you're going to quit, they typically get rid of your that day, take your phone and all that other stuff because you're in sales. But I had already did what I needed to do and I started my own business. So he didn't have much to say. What's up, Lamode? Now, going through this whole thing, I think some of you should be more realistic with your business ideal because here's the thing. A lot of people want to do what I do. And I just kind of gave you a snapshot into what I went through. This just didn't start yesterday. And this didn't start in 2009. This started like in the 80s. In the 80s, late 80s up to the early 90s is when I went through all those failures. And then I remember after I took the truck back, it was a Toyo that was nice too. I really liked it. I was still on ETS leave. I still was getting, because a lot of folks in the military do this. They know they're going to ETS. They don't go on vacation. So you have like, 60 days, 90 days leave. I had 90 days of leave. So even after I had gotten out, I still was getting paid for 3 months. So even with that, I still had a safety net. I've never done any of this stuff of quit my job with no safety net. I still had money coming in. And when I started writing on the wall, I was married. We had a young child. I had to go out and get a job. Even with being out the military, I had a part-time job because I was working at Cobb General every other weekend. And then when I got out, I started working every weekend. So I had my military money coming in. I had my part-time money coming in. So I've never hustled without a safety net, which is what a lot of you have done or trying to do. And when you fall, it hurts, and it hurts a lot. So, let's see. Ryan Andrews, foresee any limitations on the sharing economy app future from one boomer to another? I'm 53. Thanks. Yeah, age is still a limitation. Okay. I consider myself to be very tech savvy. I got all these cameras. I've got 3 iPhones. I'm pretty tech savvy, but when you come into my apps, everything on the first page is stuff I use pretty consistently. I got all these pages. Page 2, I rarely use. So here's the thing with the app and the sharing economy. Typically, it is younger people who are pushing this, and some older people adapt, but it's all about usability. Because, I've had people after me like, create an app for your channel. Why? Where's the functionality? Where's the usability? If I'm going to invest 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grand on an app, it's got to be something that people are going to use. And more important, it's got to be something that's going to make me money either in the immediate future or something. I just don't really see where an app is going to help me. So part of this comes back to, doing business, creating business, and operating in those cores. You got something to sell. There's somebody you want to sell it to. There's a way for them to find out how you sell it. That's what I focus on. So age, people, YouTube, this is happening right now. YouTube is 10 years old. Many early YouTubers are aging out of their demographic. There's a reason I don't do certain things. Like, I'm 50 years old, right? I'm not going to be riding around in a Ferrari. There's just certain shit I'm not going to do, because even if I did it, I still wouldn't appeal to that demographic. You got a 24-year-old guy. He's got a Ferrari. He's got a hot girlfriend. That for 13 to 24-year-olds, they're like, that's my crack. That's my dude. Me, I'm like, they don't want to hear what I have to say. Some don't. Some do, but a lot don't, because they're on that hustler porn. So You got to create your business based upon reality, real numbers, real demographics. A lot of people don't make money online. I know some people that you know their names. If you really know how much money they make, you'd be like, really? They don't make a lot of money. It kind of blew my mind too. Today we're talking about how to start that first business. There's a question in here about business credit with no personal guarantee. It doesn't exist anymore. Let that go. It's a fantasy. After the big meltdown, it's very hard to get that kind of stuff unless you're already well established. K9 Connect, I'm hiding behind the rack listening to you. That's cracking me up. I deep fry turkeys for 35 and up every year. This is my 4th year. Hey, there's a lot of seasonal money out there. If you get established, you have a location, and every year after year it builds, it could be some nice money for you. Klein in. Hey, Glenda, how do you feel about the Myers-Briggs personality type indicator to find out your natural cognitive functions and what job and business you should possibly be good at? Mine is 100% against what I currently do. So I would not put a lot of weight into that because to me, it's kind of like horoscopes. Horoscopes has this bulk of stuff where it's pretty accurate. And then there's this shit where it's 100% off base. Like mine, I should be, what is it? I forget, but it's not doing what I'm doing at all. So, Ron Andrews, thank you. Rather working under Fiverr, Uber, Handy. Yeah, those apps, they're going to come and go. We live in such a fast moving world with that. Like take Vine and Meerkat. They came, they went. One of the things that I am not investing in that stuff is, I mean, sure, I don't have the millions and millions of dollars to invest in that stuff. And I don't want to take my eye off the ball, go out and get investors to invest in this app I don't understand. I just, no, I mean, seriously, to do this kind of venture startup, you're looking at just taking $1 million or $2 million and just bam, throw it in there where this shit's going to work. I don't have that kind of money. I just don't. I'm not taking $1 million and just throwing off of some bullshit. And no, not me. Maybe someone else, maybe a rapper, you know, the people who spend $1 million to strip club in one night. Hey, that works for them, but not for me. Not doing it. Okay, so another thing about starting your first business, and if you need help with that, because I always get these questions, and matter of fact, while I'm here, oops, wait a minute. What the heck did I do? All right, let me find it before I forget, because I will forget, and then somebody be like, hey, you didn't put it in there. For those of you who want to start your first business, best thing I have, and this is something new that I'm doing, I'm only offering super deals during a live stream to the people who show up. Seems to work for me. It's been working very well. I like the whole flow of it because, you know, if you're going to sit here and participate in this thing and listen to me, you folks should get the deal versus other folks. I sent out a letter to my list. It's like, hey, you want the better stuff? You need to show up at the streams. I thought a bunch of people were going to unsubscribe. Not as many unsubscribed as I thought. I thought that was coming. All right, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let me find it for you. All right, hold on. Today, where is it? Let's get with pricing. Aha. So what I'm going to do, it'll be 66% off today. That's what it'll be. So let's go ahead and make sure we got this. All right, for those of you who want to start your first business and you need some guidelines, you need some help, this will be for you. Some of this isn't. And this is only going to be going down while the chat goes on. And I'll be back because I've got to put it under the video. Let's see. So let's make sure that's under there. And see, this is the thing with in-stream deal only. Yeah, put that under there. 66% off. And that should be where I want it to be. Yep. So for everybody that's listening, this deal is only going on while the stream is going on. So if you want it, grab it now. And let's see what else we got going on in here. Anybody that kind of wants to know more about my video marketing stuff, I've got a group, Video Marketing Tribe, and my consults are $1,000 an hour. Let's see. James Riley, thanks for buying and selling cars by renting a dealer's license. That's illegal. Okay, number one, that's illegal, and a lot of bad shit can happen. If you work with someone with a dealer's license, that's one thing. This is my thing. I once bought a car from one of those buy here, pay here lots, because that's before I knew a lot about business credit and all this other stuff. I needed a car. I had cash. I went in and I went and talked to the dude, and I was like, look, I don't have a job, but let me show you these bank statements from last year. And here's $3 grand. And he's like, okay. And so we got to talking. And he's like, what do you do and everything? And this guy was from Russia. And he did what you did, and he got screwed, and he was telling me about it because, you know, he's like, hey, you're a business owner, I'm a business owner, let's chop it up, right? And he says, you know, I'll never have another business partner. People will work for me, but there will be no partners other than my wife. And, you know, with that, especially when you're talking about not a lot of money, be careful. All right, what we have here, Robert Brown decided to start a bulk candy vending business. Would 30 days to 2,500 be the best starting course for that sort of business, or is it a different course you recommend? All right, here's the deal with 30 days to 2,500. You never had a business. There's some few things. Let's use Robert's example of a bulk candy vending business. All right, 30 days to 2,500 teaches you how to sell, teaches you how to find people, teaches you, there's exercises on teach you how to do, because if you're going to sell that, you got to find locations, which means you've got to talk to decision makers. You've got to work on deals. There's certain questions you need to ask. So 30 days to 2,500 is a course that will take someone who never had a business to start in a business pretty quickly to a seasoned business person, someone who took it, who was doing 30 grand and moved their money up to 100 grand. So, yeah. James, many dealers buy people. Yeah, I wouldn't rent a dealer's license. That's just illegal as hell. All right, quick story. I was thinking about starting a car lot because it seemed like good money. And then when I went through the whole process, it's very heavily regulated. There's a lot that goes with it. So, and depending upon what state you're in, you know, like I said, you're renting someone's license. If you get caught, they'll probably lose their license. It just has disaster written all over it. It could work well, but I just see disaster. Shoe 458. I have to stop second guessing myself. You have to get started because, like I said, your first business, many of y'all are just putting way too much pressure on that. It's like I want to quit my job. I mean, the reality is, you may not be able to quit your job for a year or two. Let's walk through the first part of this stream where I was talking about I was in the military, I was running this stuff. This is a process that went on for years. And this is why, for all my young dudes, I tell you, get started now. Don't wait until you're like 40 or 50. Get started now. You got a job? All right, fine. Start a side business and work your ass off on it. It will improve your life in the future. You know, you're going to struggle. There's going to be bullshit you got to deal with. The money will not be like you want. Like I said, someone asked me, like, why did you not give up? And then I realized I didn't fully tell the story. I wasn't dependent upon that money to live. This was to get me to a higher income. It wasn't like to replace my income. I wasn't even thinking like that back then. That's the information I needed. Question, the lesson you learned from your landscaping business. So if the marketing were different, would you have been successful and then exercise some patience to wait for the response. All right, let's go with it, because I actually did this exercise. If I was going to start a landscaping business, what I would have done was started with my neighborhood. See, what I did was I used to live, you know, anyone that lives in Atlanta knows about Greenbrier Mall area. I used to live over there. And then I drove all the way over to Buckhead, which is interesting. I live in that neighborhood now. This is funny. I live in the neighborhood that I actually went many years ago to drop off all this stuff. I would start in my neighborhood. I would have started with the $10 lawns. And once I built up a reoccurring business model where I had 20, 30 lawns locally, because one, I wouldn't have to drive that far. Two, I know these people, I can get more money doing other stuff. Then once I had a baseline of business, I would have started to grow and advertise and hire people. Totally different. But see, I didn't know that stuff back then. I have no clue. I had no clue how that worked. James Brown, this is my issue. I can't stop doubting myself, and I'm 40 years old. Shit is depressing. Self-doubt happens to most people because the society has designed us, or indoctrinated us, that's a better word, that success should be instant. You have only a limited window to be successful, which isn't true. You're 40. I didn't get on this path until I was 32. The real path. The first section, I was like, you know, teenager, early 20s. Then there was a period where I just had jobs, you know, and then the thing with the ex-wife where I ended up homeless and shit. I was like, okay, I got to do something, because see, my situation is so fucked up right now. Regular means are just not going to get me out of it. So once I got my mentality right, and this is why I talk about mindset. There's a lot of people who's like, oh, mindset, you know, I talk about mindset. You shouldn't talk about mindset. Mindset's everything. You know, they just kind of want the tactics to make money, but they have the wrong mindset. It's kind of like when you see this guy with this outrageously beautiful woman and he's just a regular dude. His mindset was like, I'm going to talk to her. There's a lot of chicks who, if you talk to them the right way, they're in love, regardless how they look and regardless how you look. But a lot of people, you know, in the comments, how many, you know, for you single guys, how many women do you approach a year? I'm going to write down this number. For the single, let's see, where can I, just to let y'all know that I'm not bullshitting you. Let's see. I'm gonna write down this number. Can't see. Okay, y'all can't see it. How many women do you single guys, and this is a marketing lesson. I already wrote it down, so I can't change it. How many, you know, put in the comments, how many women per year, for the year, how many women do you approach in a year? Break it down per month. How many women do you go like, wow, you know, I really want to get to know her, whatever. How many of these women do you approach per month? Single guys. Put some numbers in there, because I got something that's going to blow your mind, and this is going to tie all of this together. But I started at 32, and it was just really, really rough. But because I got my mindset together, I was able to do in 6 weeks what I couldn't do in like 2.5 years, which was get a much better job, get my own place, get the fuck out that boarding house, and get a car. Let's see what we got in here. I got a whole story on the ice truck, you know, on this channel. Let's see, what is it? My life as a day laborer. I got that whole thing outlined in that video. Hundreds after hundreds. James Rowley, none. Geez, after my girlfriend left in July, I talked to about 200 women and slept with 2. Okay, let's not online. Okay, I should have made that clarification. Actually, in real life, how many women did you actually talk to in real life? Like, you're in a mall, you're getting gas, whatever. How many did you like, hey, I want to get real life, no online shit? Because I'm going to tell you something about that in a minute. James Riley, I don't know the last time I approached a woman. Franco, sir, in a year about 20. So that's roughly like 2 or 3 a month. James Riley, 0. Okay. Robert, 1 to 2 a month. So that's like 12 to 20. All right. All right. We got enough of a sample. The average dude in a year will approach 5 to 9 women in real life. Five to nine. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story. In the boarding house, okay? I'm in the boarding house. I don't have a car. I have roommates, not a roommate, roommates. And I have reached that point of, fuck it, I have nothing to lose. I would talk to about 20 women a month or 25. I ended up dating a pharmaceutical rep, a doctor, several college students because I was in the West End. Essentially, once I got to that I don't have shit else to lose moment, I fucked more women in 1 year than I did in my previous life. Because I simply approached 20 women a month, where the average dude approaches 5 to 9 in a year. So that's a lesson for you. It's a lesson for you. I had no money. I had no car. I was just like, hey, you know, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, I live in the boarding house, right? I remember this one chick. Her name's Amanda. Boo, your honesty is so amazing. I'm so turned on. Yeah, true story. All right. No real life. You got a referral. I work in costumes on Las Vegas Strip. I talk to all the pretty half-dressed women. Numdre norm, about 40. That's a low batting average. I mean, seriously, it was just, that's some of the stuff that will be in Uncivilized Profits, but it won't be about dating. It'll be the mindset. Yep, the women will kill it if the mindset isn't right. I was cuckolded by my ex and growing the business I started. Both eventually ended. Damn. If you're not, Robert Braun, if you're not brave enough to put yourself out there, you miss all the shots you don't take. Gotta not care about looks, dumb. I mean, seriously, that's one of the reasons I say the stuff. Because, you know, I've had these conversations with friends, and I've had people bet me, like when I used to go out a lot, and I was like, I'm gonna go over and talk to this girl. Now, see, what I wouldn't tell them was I had already saw physical body language signals to let me know that she was attracted to me. I wouldn't just walk up to some chick cold. That's not going to work. If she don't like you, you can't go with the Jedi mind trick like, oh, you now think I'm the best man. And no. What you'll do is you isolate someone who's already shown signs of interest, which are really subtle. But once you know what these signs are, it's a way easier. I'm glad to catch the morning hustle on break. All right, so back to starting that first business. You got to kind of calm down. You've got to really take a deep breath and understand that this is a process and a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, I'm someone who's failed a lot of times, and I've always had a safety net. That's why you never hear me on this channel talk about quit your job. I will say you need to quit your job in this year, and there's a process and the methodology on how you can do that. But just quit your job and just start hustling when you don't have real hustle skills, that's just stupid. That's just really stupid. It just really is. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's because I've just decided Uncivilized Profit is going to be a lot longer because I get into the psychology, and it's mostly a marketing course because if your marketing is on point, the product sells itself. It's just amazing that when you do that, because some other stuff like I'm marketing right now. This is marketing. Every live stream I do, I make money. And that's one of the reasons that like my list, I'm like, I got an offer that's going to come out for them. It's new stuff and y'all will hear about it too. But this is marketing and it's consistent. How often do you see me do this? This is what you have to do with your business. You have to consistently market. And many people are just like, I want to automate. I just want to set it and forget it and not touch it. That does not going to work today. That may have worked in 1950, 1960, 1970, 1980, 1990, and maybe some of 2000. But today that doesn't work. Let's see. Haha, it's not about caring about looking dumb, look presentable, and take the risk. You could not look dumb and be smart. Take chances, evaluate them first. Your brown dog ate my rabbit. That shit cracks me up. When you have nothing to lose, it's a lot easier to take the risk. True. I mean, you're already at the bottom. It can't get any worse. Hey, baby, you want to go back to the boarding house with me? I got that top bunk of the pillow fort. I'm going to tell you a story in a minute. This was when, I'll just tell it now. I'll read one more quote. If you're lazy, Norm Life. If you're lazy, you don't want to get out there and grind, not going to happen. 100% correct. Okay. For those who didn't know, when I was in the boarding house, I used to work for the Gallup organization. I used to be one of those people to call you during dinner time and like, hey, would you want to take this survey, right? There was this girl there. Boarding house, and she was like my type, and I just kind of went over and whispered in her ear on this fucking job, and I was like, can I say that shit here? No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna paraphrase because it was extremely, extremely raw, rugged, and dirty, and I just whispered in her ear, right, and walked off. Then like an hour later, she comes over to my cubicle because we're on all these cubicles, and she whispers in my ear, don't make promises you can't keep. I was like blown away. Yeah, she went home with me that night. Well, again, she was a college student. She was over at, I think Clark at the time. Gorgeous, fucking gorgeous. Just five foot of fineness. It was just ridiculous. But you got to get started. And that's one of the things, instead of looking for, quote, the perfect business, look for the imperfect business. Look for some bullshit, because you got to get your reps in. You got to get started. You have to take chances, take risks. Because like I said, I put it out here because someone the other day was talking about, do you still drive for Uber? I just deleted the comment. I drove for Uber for like 6 weeks. And you know, I don't even remember the login information. I know every now and then they'll send me something because I don't even have the vehicle that I was driving Uber with. I wouldn't even want to drive Uber, and there's nothing wrong with Uber, but just it's not a good use of my time. I mean, you know, because I got away from the stories, lots of fucking stories in 6 weeks, lots of fucking stories. I mean, good Lord, the shit. I can only imagine what the guys who were going through, because if you're a good looking dude, you can get laid driving for Uber easily. But you know, this whole thing of starting a business is a pursuit that I think is worthy. It takes time, it takes heart, it takes endurance, and more than likely you're not going to hit it out of the park your first time, nor should you worry about it if you don't. Because what happens is when you go through that level of education, you build some seriously strong hustle bones. You build the ability to push through stuff that other people would quit. You just become a stronger person. You know, starting a business is just going to put hair on your chest. It's just going to make you more of a man and more of a woman, because your responsibility level just intensifies to certain things that most folks never have to deal with. They just never have to deal with. Melissa, so Seal has been dead as a fart for me for months now. I still post there, cause free, but I do better with the FB pages now. But half of them want to kick me off because they know they classify me as a business. Being a reseller today, there's so many options, there's so many portals that has created a great deal of fiefdoms. There's a lot of people who are now kings and queens of their pages, and they act like it. And if you're not playing by their rules, boom, they're getting rid of you. You're just getting rid of you. And one of the reasons I left reselling is exposure. It's like, let's go all the way back to the picture with your pooch business. I was an E4 in the military. I was a kid. Didn't know what I was doing. But I kept on. I didn't give up. And then as I had left reselling, I got this $100,000 consulting contract with a production company. Whereas I had given up way back when, I never had that opportunity much later. Because see, this is the things that a lot of you miss, that if you stay with the game, there's no telling what's coming your way in the future. I mean, it's just amazing stuff that's happened. Just amazing stuff. So for those of you who need help with starting that first business, today only, because I keep forgetting, people are off, they've kicked back. Some folks woke up drinking this morning because, you know, Thanksgiving's Thursday, football game. So I'm going to do this special, you know, during the stream. Go ahead and get in there, get 30 days to 2,500. It'll help you start. And also get started now. Don't wait until after Thanksgiving, after Christmas, because there's a lot of preliminary work and stuff you need to do. And that's just not going to happen overnight. It's just not. It's just the reality of it. So approach more prospects for more results. Yeah, when I was selling office furniture, I was not connected at all. I got all of my leads and stuff except when I started networking with this commercial real estate guy. Cold calling, dialing for dollars. Just, I mean, I had a headset and I was just like this. I was dialing so fast that one guy who hung up on me and said, "Don't you ever call me again." And I was just I was like, "Hey, this is Glendon Campbell." He said, "Didn't you hear me?" And I was like, clearly we got disconnected because you'll be a fucking fool to turn down this great deal. And I just, I'm like, fuck it. He already told me to blow off, you know, if I get in trouble. I mean, I work for a company where if, you know how some coaches are, if you get a file or a penalty, if you really get it after you, because you're going for it, they're like, slap you on the ass, good penalty. That was the company I worked for. So if this kind of stuff went down, I wasn't going to get yelled at. And dude was like, "What did you say?" I said, "I have an amazing deal for you and you'll be a fucking fool not to take it." And, you know, he sets up an appointment, right? And I was like, dialing for dollars. You just get in that habit. I think cold calling just gave me really tough skin where I didn't really care if people said no. I got to that point. I still don't care. You know, people say no all the time. People send me nasty grams. Folks sign up for the list and they're like, "Hey, you sending me all this bullshit. If you send it to me again, I'm going to kill your mother and I'm going to skin a goat and drip blood on your bed," and stuff like this. Some people on the list were mentally damaged, but I just don't care. Now, I used to be on that phone like, whoo. I mean, those first 2 weeks were brutal. They were brutal, and I just got past it. So yeah, definitely. The more people that you approach, the better, the more money you're gonna make. Just reality. With startups, do you think marketing efforts are more important than direct sales? No, there is no marketing because nobody knows you. I've said this before, and this has been the core of this channel and it's been a staple. If you learn how to sell, you can make money. Direct sales is the fastest way to make money because, and typically if you do it in person, then you get away from all of that. We got to build trust stuff. I mean, you know, I've made, you know, $1 million sales in person after knowing the person for a week because it was a physical product. So definitely. All right. So anybody that wants to get that first business going, get 30 days to 2,500. It is 66% off. So grab that. Melissa, I put out the word the flea market. I don't make a ton there, but I meet and talk to a lot of people. Yeah, like, you know, one of the reasons I stopped reselling, and it isn't like reselling's bad or anything. It's just reselling is very hard to scale and leverage. It's very hard to scale and leverage. And that's just something that many of my businesses were missing. Whereas this one, I can scale and leverage. I can do a lot without investing a lot. So that was the big thing. And two, durability. We all get older. And I saw what happened. And I had promised myself I wasn't going to be one of those storage auction dudes, 60, 70 years old, all bent over out there on a cold January morning bidding on lockers. Just when I saw a lot of these guys. I mean, one dude, he's out there with his oxygen tank and stuff. I mean, bravo for the courage and the hustle, but I don't want to be you. You know, maybe he loves it, but no. Your brown dog ate my rabbit. Throw in uncivilized profits at the OG price in the spirit of Thanksgiving stream only. I pull the trigger on 30 days already. There will not be any OG pricing. Let me tell you something else, but nice try. I like your hustle. I like your hustle. I've got people who paid the new price, so I'm not going to put I'm not going to put this out there for the $25. No. No. It's $350, and it's going to be, because see, this is the ring. I'm grading papers. This is a real class. I'm grading papers. You got to write 1,000-word paper, send it to me, and then we got to have some dialogue about that. So no. I can't, based on the fact of the work that I have to do. There's no way I can make that cheap. But I can tell you this, that uncivilized profits is going to get very, very expensive. Very expensive. $350 ain't nothing. Not where I plan on going with it. It is, but I love it. A lot of people do. Klein in, I stopped reselling as a side hustle because I ordered products that ended up being knockoffs, and the company called me out on it. A lot of stuff's going on with, physical reselling at flea markets, online reselling, and it's getting brutal. And once again, here's, going to the Trump people. A lot of those people are going to be your competition selling and reselling. That's why I think eBay has come back with a vengeance. So many people have jumped on Amazon FBA. And for everybody that's listening who has watched my no eBay, no Amazon videos, there's like 4 or 5 of them. Everything I predicted has come true. The next thing, you're going to have to pay a price to become a premium FBA seller. No, it's like, hey, you want to be an FBA seller, you're going to have to pay like 5-10 grand. That's coming. I might call me crazy, but I think that's coming because there's so many. Why? Marketplace dynamics, the net demand and supply. Amazon does not need all of the third-party resellers they have. You'll hear people, they need us. Amazon is opening physical stores. Now, why is Amazon opening physical stores? Same reason Apple has physical stores. Same reason that Home Depot has physical stores. As fast as someone can ship, nothing beats like getting in your car. Like when I got this iPhone, I went to Verizon, and 30 minutes later, I walked out with a phone. You can't ship it that fast. Apple can. For certain products, Apple will ship to you within 2 hours. That's how I got this watch. I was busy that day. I didn't have time to go out. Went online. Dude in the Honda came to my house. So Amazon's opening up physical stores, and they just don't need you. And a lot of people are just kind of caught up in that. They need us. I'm like, Amazon don't need y'all. And they're going to get rid of you, as many of you as possible, because they don't need you. And also, it's not from we hate them. It's from standardized customer interaction. If they have more people who are higher end, more organized, that's just going to be a better experience for their customer. See, the Amazon customer is not your customer. It's their customer. Never forget that. Oh, that's funny. Thanks for a worth a shot. I help you grade papers and throw in the car wash. Your brown dog ate my rabbit. Hilarious. Shoe 458 is that price after the discount. Okay, let me give you this thing with dynamic pricing, because see, uncivilized profits, and I'm going to tell you how I came up with this, is stuff I want to put in courses that a lot of folks aren't ready for. It's really a marketing course. It's not an Amazon, it's not an eBay or FBA course. It's a do this kind of work and become a millionaire course. And I'm not saying it's bullshit. I'm saying this from a standpoint of this is what the bigger companies do. Bigger companies have whole departments predicated and dedicated to market research. Like BuzzFeed, if you ever watch it, when BuzzFeed's doing the title, they have 3 people writing this piece, and they'll have a whiteboard, and they'll write down like 30 titles. This is their job. That's what you're competing against, and you wonder why you're losing. Uncivilized Profits was predicated on things I know that I've never really talked about, and watching some of these tactics Donald Trump use. I mean, I'll give you the 30,000 foot view. He found a huge market and he's told them what they want to hear. See, this is the thing. He didn't sell them. No one has to sell you on you being smart unless you just have low self-esteem. If you feel that you've been marginalized, you feel that other people have gotten over and you're getting fucked, and then someone with power, celebrity, charisma comes and tells you, you're right, I'm on your side. That ain't a hard job to sell. Like you're talking to a conceited person, like, you're the best, you're awesome. And they're like, come in my house. Want a drink? It's not a hard sell. So Uncivilized Profits is probably going to be like $3,000 when I'm done with it, because there's things you have to do and there's research. You just can't like go through a module and listen to it and make money. You have to go through a module. You have to do stuff. You have to do research. You have to find an audience. So the reason it's going to be so expensive, and right now it's dirt cheap, is if you do this once, and I'm going to give you an example of what happened to me. I knew from being at a real storage auction buyer how new people got fucked over. So I knew there was an audience. I didn't know how big it was, didn't care. Because I was like, my goal was 50 G's. I knew the audience was big enough to do that. Little did I know that my audience would grow. So this is another thing. And this was the storage auction. Shows came on, the audience grew. And by finding an audience, there's a lot of things that can happen, because you find that audience, you give that audience what they want, it's instant money. So you spend 350 bucks with me right now, and then let's say a year later, you're making 30, 40 grand, 50 grand, 60 grand, 2 million, 3 million. That's incredibly cheap if you get in now. Benjamin Gandy, they also have the data on what sells and what market and stock accordingly. Yes, that's why you can't beat Amazon. People are just like, hey, we could compete with Amazon. Good luck with that. They as Amazon is the epitome of pimping. Who said pimping's dead? We get you to send us stuff. We get to you to, and people do pay-per-click advertising for Amazon. So we get to look at all of this metrics and data and then make really good decisions. I have no clue how you can not make sure you're buying stolen electronics unless you buy from reputable dealers. Maybe that. Okay, I'm about to bounce. I've got a lot of stuff to do today. I'm only taking Thanksgiving off. Maybe. Because all we're doing is eating. We're not going anywhere. So 30 days to 2,500. It's below the video. If you want to jump into Uncivilized Profits, below the video, that's you got more time on that. That's just 350, and what I'm doing with that is going to slowly go up because I'm going to add some more modules to Uncivilized Profits today. And then for those of you who want to start businesses, never started one, need help, 30 days to 2,500. That's for you. All right. So everybody that came out, appreciate it. If you don't see each other again, happy Thanksgiving, and be sure to subscribe. Be sure to share this video. I'm out.